Imagine living in such a way that the world itself seems to bend in your favor. You're not chasing anything, you're not begging for opportunities, you're simply existing with such clarity and strength that the things you want begin to move toward you. This is not magic, and it's not luck. It's the quiet power of living by principles so timeless, so unshakable, that life itself cannot resist aligning with you. These are the Stoic principles that don't just help you survive. They help you attract, manifest, and create the reality you want. The first principle is to control only what is within your power. Most people waste their days wrestling with events, opinions, and people they cannot control. Their minds are full of anxiety because they've anchored their peace to something outside of themselves. A Stoic reverses this. They guard their mind, their actions, their choices, and leave the rest to unfold as it will. The paradox is that when you stop gripping so tightly to the uncontrollable, the world stops pushing back so hard. Space opens. Flow begins. The second principle is detachment from outcomes. Desire becomes suffering the moment it turns into desperation. When you are chained to a specific result, you are giving the world a lever to pull you in any direction. Stoicism teaches us to work with discipline, to give our best, and then to step back. To accept whatever comes as if it were exactly meant for us. This detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop bleeding energy into fear and frustration. That calm, that unshakable presence, draws opportunities in. The third principle is living with virtue above all else. In the ancient Stoic world, virtue was not a vague moral concept, it was the highest form of alignment with reason and nature. Courage, wisdom, justice, and self-control are not just noble words, they are magnets. The more you live in alignment with them, the more trust and respect you command, the more doors quietly open for you without you having to knock. The fourth principle is to embrace obstacles as fuel. Most people collapse under hardship, but the Stoic sees the obstacle and says, "Good. Here is my training." This mindset is magnetic, because the world can't intimidate you anymore. When life throws a challenge and you treat it as a gift, your energy shifts. You stop running from the storm and walk straight into it, and in doing so, you find the very opportunities you once thought were blocked. The fifth principle is to practice gratitude in the present moment. Gratitude is not passive acceptance. It is the recognition of the wealth that is already here. When you live as if nothing is lacking, you stop moving like a beggar and start moving like a king. You stop sending out the frequency of scarcity and start radiating abundance. That's when more comes, not because you begged for it, but because you've become the kind of person who can receive it. The sixth principle is self-mastery. A person who cannot govern themselves will forever be ruled by the outside world, by impulses, by moods, by other people's opinions. But when you master your thoughts, your emotions, and your habits, you become unshakable. You start moving with intention instead of reaction. In this way, you stop chasing and start attracting, because your presence itself communicates power. The seventh principle is the acceptance of mortality. Remembering that you will die is not meant to depress you, it's meant to set you free. Every moment becomes precious when you realize it's limited. Petty fears dissolve, hesitation vanishes, and you begin to act with clarity. The person who lives as though time is short has no choice but to focus on what truly matters. That focus is the ultimate attractor of meaningful things. The eighth principle is simplicity. The Stoics did not confuse wealth with clutter. They understood that complexity steals focus, and focus is the currency of achievement. By simplifying your life, your possessions, your commitments, your mental noise, you free up energy to pour into what you truly want. And when your energy is not scattered, it becomes a beam that pulls things into your orbit. The ninth principle is to be unoffendable. The moment you allow someone's words or actions to dictate your state of mind, you give them power over you. Stoicism teaches that insults, judgments, and gossip are just noise, nothing more. When you refuse to be shaken by them, you rise above the chaos. This composure is rare, And because it's rare, it attracts respect, influence, and trust from the people who matter. The 10th principle is to live in harmony with nature, not just the physical world, but the nature of reality itself. Seasons change. People come and go. Fortune rises and falls. The Stoic flows with this rhythm instead of resisting it. And in that flow, they find themselves exactly where they need to be, at exactly the right time, with exactly the right opportunities. When you live by these principles, you stop feeling like you're at the mercy of the world. You move through it like a river moves through a valley, steady, patient, unstoppable. And before long, you look around and realize that everything you once chased is now quietly walking toward you. When you fully embody these principles, you begin to notice subtle changes, not just in how the world reacts to you, but in how you react to the world. You wake up without that heavy need to prove yourself or to scramble for recognition. The noise of comparison fades. You start moving with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that what is meant for them will not need to be chased. The power of Stoicism lies in the shift from force to alignment. Most people live by force, forcing plans, forcing relationships, forcing success before it's time. That constant push creates tension, resistance, and burnout. But the Stoic understands that the most powerful force is not the one that pushes, but the one that pulls. And pulling happens naturally when your thoughts, actions, and values are in harmony. You're no longer a loose collection of scattered impulses, you're a unified current. And here's the truth. Life is always responding to you. Every decision you make, every thought you hold, every emotion you allow to linger, they're all signals you're sending out. Most people send out mixed signals. They want wealth, but they dwell on scarcity. They want love, but they harbor resentment. They want peace, but they feed chaos. The Stoic disciplines themselves to align the signal with the desire. This isn't wishful thinking, it's deliberate living. Imagine a man walking through a crowded marketplace. The noise is deafening, merchants shouting, people rushing, deals being made. Most get swept up in the chaos, pulled in 100 directions. But the Stoic? He moves with purpose. He hears the noise, but it doesn't pull him. He sees the distractions, but they don't shake him. He knows where he's going, and every step he takes is toward it. That same steadiness in your own life will make people and opportunities come to you, because certainty is magnetic. But this certainty doesn't come overnight. It is built in the quiet moments. In the morning when you choose discipline over comfort, in the afternoon when you choose patience over anger, in the evening when you choose reflection over mindless distraction. Every one of those moments is a deposit into your power. And power, real power, doesn't need to shout. It simply exists, and the world feels it. Imagine a man walking through a crowded marketplace. The noise is deafening, merchants shouting, people rushing, deals being made. Most get swept up in the chaos, pulled in 100 directions. But the Stoic? He moves with purpose. He hears the noise, but it doesn't pull him. He sees the distractions, but they don't shake him. He knows where he's going, and every step he takes is toward it. That same steadiness in your own life will make people and opportunities come to you, because certainty is magnetic. But this certainty doesn't come overnight. It is built in the quiet moments. In the morning when you choose discipline over comfort, in the afternoon when you choose patience over anger, in the evening when you choose reflection over mindless distraction. Every one of those moments is a deposit into your power. And power, real power, doesn't need to shout. It simply exists, and the world feels it. When you look at the great Stoic thinkers, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, none of them were chasing applause or bending their lives to impress others. Their influence came from living in such a way that their very being inspired trust, respect, and admiration. They became immovable in a world of constant movement. They didn't need to demand, they attracted. And here's the paradox you must understand. The less you cling, the more you gain. The less you grasp at control over the uncontrollable, the more naturally things fall into place. The less you fight reality, the more reality bends to you. This is not passivity, it's mastery. It's knowing when to act with fierce precision and when to stand still and let the tide carry you forward. In a world addicted to speed, noise, and distraction, the Stoic's calm is a rare and irresistible presence. When you stop moving like the desperate and start moving like the inevitable, life changes. And not because you've manipulated it, but because you've finally learned to move with it. Keep living the principles. Keep your mind sharp, your heart steady, and your actions aligned. Don't look for the world to validate you. Become the kind of person the world cannot ignore. And when you do, you'll wake up one day to find that everything you once wanted is already standing at your door, waiting for you to simply open it. And when that day comes, it won't feel like a sudden miracle. It will feel like the natural result of who you've become. You'll realize that manifestation was never about rituals, vision boards, or repeating affirmations into the mirror until your voice went hoarse. It was about building a foundation so strong that life couldn't help but grow upon it. This is the quiet truth the world often ignores. You don't get what you want by constantly reaching for it. You get it by becoming the version of yourself who already has it. When your mind operates from abundance, when your decisions reflect wisdom, when your discipline is unshakable, you're no longer trying to convince the world to give you something. You are simply meeting it as an equal. Think of the tree that stands tall in the middle of a field. It doesn't wander around looking for sunlight or chase after the rain. It stays rooted, firm, unwavering. And yet, season after season, the sun finds it, the rain nourishes it, the wind shapes it. Everything it needs comes to it because it remains exactly where it's meant to be, becoming exactly what it's meant to become. That is the Stoic way. But this path demands something most people aren't willing to give: consistency. Anyone can be calm for a day. Anyone can be disciplined for a week. But can you hold to your principles when nothing seems to be working? Can you still trust the process when the world tells you to give up? The Stoic can. Because they understand that life unfolds in its own time, not theirs. The beauty of Stoicism is that it strips away the illusion that you need to control everything in order to succeed. Instead, it gives you control over the only thing that truly matters: yourself. And once you have mastered that, the rest stops feeling like an uphill battle. It begins to feel like a current you can ride. So walk forward with patience. Stand firm with virtue. Let your presence speak louder than your demands. Because the truth is, what's meant for you will come, not when you shout for it, but when you've become the person worthy of receiving it. The Stoics understood something simple yet profound. You don't chase the harvest, you cultivate the field. You tend the soil, you protect it from weeds, you water it, you nourish it. And in time, without you needing to beg, the crops rise. Life works the same way. Become the kind of person who plants well, and you'll never worry about the fruit. Everything you desire is already on its way to you. Your only task is to keep yourself in a state where, when it arrives, you can hold it, appreciate it, and grow with it. And that is why the Stoic doesn't run toward life in panic. They stand where they are, prepared, steady, unshakable, and let life come to them. And here's the part most people miss. When life finally brings you what you've been working toward, you must have the strength to keep it. Many chase opportunities they're not ready for, and when they finally get them, they crumble under the weight. The Stoic avoids this trap by preparing not just for the arrival of success, but for the responsibility it carries. They strengthen their character so that when fortune knocks, they're not scrambling, they're ready. Because what good is wealth without discipline to manage it? What good is love without the patience to nurture it? What good is power without the wisdom to wield it? The Stoic doesn't just attract, they sustain. That's the difference between those who have brief moments of glory and those who live in enduring abundance. Understand this: your life will mirror your inner state. If you are chaotic, impatient, and desperate, the things you attract will be the same: fleeting, unstable, and full of struggle. But if you are calm, disciplined, and rooted in virtue, you will attract things of equal stability and depth. The outer world simply reflects the inner one. The moment you stop living for applause, the applause becomes louder. The moment you stop begging for opportunity, opportunity starts hunting for you. It's not magic, it's the gravitational pull of self-mastery. Just like a mountain doesn't move to meet the climber, yet the climber is drawn to it, the world will be drawn to you when you stand as something rare and immovable. And so, every day you wake with a choice. You can spend your energy chasing, scattering your power in all directions, or you can spend it building yourself into the kind of person the world cannot overlook. The Stoic chooses the latter, not because it's easy, but because it's the only path that guarantees lasting results. So keep walking with intention. Keep your vision clear, your heart steady, your actions aligned. Let others burn themselves out in the chase. You will stand like the mountain. And in time, everything you desire will make the climb to meet you. And when it finally reaches you, you'll notice something strange. You won't feel the urge to cling to it. You won't be gripped by the fear of losing it, because your worth was never tied to having it in the first place. This is the quiet freedom the Stoic earns, the ability to enjoy without attachment, to hold without chains, to love without possession. You'll realize that the real reward was never the thing itself, but the person you became in the process of preparing for it. The discipline you forged, the patience you cultivated, the wisdom you gained, these are the treasures that cannot be taken from you. They are yours in drought and in harvest, in rise and in fall. And that's when you understand why the Stoic doesn't panic when the tides change. They know that seasons shift. Fortunes turn. What comes today may leave tomorrow, but the character they have built will draw the next wave just as surely as it drew the first. This is why they never truly lose. Picture yourself a year from now, living by these principles. You rise each morning without rushing, because you've built a life that doesn't demand desperation. You work with focus, not frantic energy. You speak with weight, not noise. You walk into rooms and feel the unspoken respect of those who sense your steadiness. And without chasing, without clawing, without begging, opportunities find you. This is the paradox of attraction in its purest form. The less you try to pull it in, the more it moves toward you. You are no longer chasing the river downstream. You have become the source. And everything that flows downstream must, in time, pass through you. So remain steady. Remain disciplined. Remain grounded. Because life does not reward the one who shouts the loudest, but the one who stands the longest. And when you have mastered yourself, you will find that the world has quietly mastered the art of coming to you. And in that moment, you'll see clearly that you were never truly waiting for life to deliver anything. You were simply becoming the person who could recognize it when it arrived. Most people miss their opportunities not because those opportunities never came, but because they weren't ready, they weren't looking with the right eyes, or they didn't have the strength to hold on once it was in their hands. The Stoic avoids this by living in a constant state of readiness. Not paranoid, not tense, but steady, like a soldier who sharpens his sword even on a quiet day. Because they know the quiet day is when the preparation is done, and when the time comes to act, there will be no hesitation. And here's the deeper truth. When you live this way, you stop thinking in terms of getting or losing. You start seeing everything as part of a cycle, a flow. What comes is meant to come. What goes is meant to go. You stop fighting the tide and start using it. That's why the Stoic appears so unshakable. They are not clinging to the shore, they are navigating the current. The world feels this. People feel it. They are drawn to someone who is not easily swayed, someone whose value doesn't rise and fall with the opinions of the crowd. And when they are drawn to you, they bring with them opportunities, trust, alliances, and respect, not because you demanded it, but because you embodied the kind of presence that attracts it naturally. So remember, the real work is not in forcing life to bend to your will. The real work is in shaping yourself into someone so disciplined, so wise, and so grounded, that life cannot help but align with you. This is the essence of Stoicism, the art of becoming immovable in a world that never stops moving. Stand firm in that, and you'll never have to wonder if what you want will come to you. It will. It always does. And when it does, you'll meet it with open hands, not clenched fists. You'll welcome it without the desperation that drives so many to grasp and suffocate the very thing they worked for. You'll understand that holding loosely is not the same as not caring. It's the understanding that nothing real can be taken from you, and nothing that leaves was ever truly yours to keep. This is the state of quiet power the Stoic lives in. They don't measure their life by sudden peaks or sharp declines, but by the steady climb of their own character. Every day is another step, another refinement, another test passed. And because they are not chasing the highs, they are never crushed by the lows. Think about it. When you no longer fear loss, you are free to act with boldness. When you no longer crave approval, you are free to speak with truth. When you no longer obsess over the timing of things, you are free to enjoy the moment you're in. That freedom is magnetic. People feel it. Life responds to it. The world is full of noise, those who shout for attention, who scramble for recognition, who trade their peace for temporary gains. But the Stoic stands apart. They are the calm in the storm, the steady flame in the wind. And because they do not move with the chaos eventually moves around them. So keep building yourself into that kind of person, the one who doesn't need to chase because everything worth having finds its way to them. And when it does, you will know how to hold it, how to grow with it, and, if the time comes, how to let it go without breaking. That is the real victory. Not just attracting what you want, but becoming the kind of soul who remains whole, with it or without it. And that wholeness becomes your greatest strength. Because when your sense of self isn't built on fragile things, titles, possessions, approval, there's nothing the world can take from you to weaken you. You move through life with a quiet certainty, knowing that your value comes from within, from the virtues and discipline you've cultivated. In this state, every gain is simply a bonus, and every loss is merely a shift in the landscape, not a blow to your identity. You stop fearing the unknown, because you trust yourself to meet it head-on. This is why the Stoic can walk into any situation, success or struggle, celebration or crisis, with the same steady presence. They are not at the mercy of circumstance, they are anchored in something deeper. And here's the paradox. When you stop needing the world to give you something to feel complete, the world starts giving you more. Not because it suddenly favors you, but because you've removed the resistance that comes from fear and desperation. You've made yourself open, receptive, ready. So you live each day not as a hunter chasing a prize, but as a craftsman shaping a masterpiece. That masterpiece is you. Every choice, every discipline, every moment of patience and courage adds to it. And when it's complete, or rather, when it's in such a state of strength and beauty that it naturally draws the eyes of the world, you'll see that the things you once pursued are now standing quietly at your side. The Stoic knows this truth. You don't need to run after life. If you become the person you were meant to be, life will run after you.